Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, this one has so much in it. It's from Thrift Store Religion. So it's 39 minutes long. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, and I will put the link in the description, but there's just so much in here. I'm going to go through, I don't know, depends on how I feel. I might do 2 parts. Let's see. So this young girl, I've got her name here somewhere. She's got a very like Scandinavian German type name. She's talking about basically how her loser father got a girlfriend and didn't want to take care of her like, you know, a real man would do. So I think he was in Scientology and he got a new girlfriend. Okay, yeah, anyways, he got a new girlfriend and then he didn't want to take care of his daughter because the girlfriend didn't like her around. So he just dumped his daughter into the Sea Org. I believe it's the Sea Org. I'm pretty sure she said she's 15 years old when she goes in. Child.
Appropriate. I was told that all the friends I had who were non-Scientologists, I was not supposed to be in contact with them anymore. So it was a very controlled environment from the very first day, right from the very first hour.
So you're told not to communicate with any of your friends?
Well, those who were not in Scientology or who were maybe against Scientology.
And did you find that
better known as squirrels?
That odd?
I found it very odd, and I found it very uncomfortable. I don't like to be controlled that way.
Did you try to contact any of your friends?
I still kept in contact with them, which was one of the reasons that I stayed on the EPF for so long, because I was always in ethics.
Explain the EPF to me.
15-year-old girl. She should be out having fun with her friends, going to the mall or whatever they do now, getting her nails done, flirting with the boys, paying attention to her schoolwork, having family time, which seems to be something a lot of Scientologists don't get, and I got mixed feelings, but I have compassion. Okay.
Well, if you spell it out, it's the Estates Project Force. And they basically do physical work all over the base, from cleaning out sewage pipes to, we built a sauna when I was there, a little miniature castle from outside.
Because they're all about the free labor. And I know it's not just Scientology. I know Jehovah's Witness does it. The Mormons do it. I don't know much about Amish. I haven't studied that. But, I mean, I know they do that in there. But I don't think to this level. I don't think.
I'm still proud of that. I mean, I built it. We were digging trenches all night, carrying cement sacks around that were 30 kilograms heavy.
And you were how old?
30 kilograms. I'm not sure what that would be in English measurements or American. That's a lot. 30 kilograms, that is really heavy. I'm thinking maybe like 100 pounds for a 15-year-old girl that is developing and, you know, growing into a woman. She needs her calcium and all that, so her bones are strong. And they have her out here lifting 30 kilogram cement, whatever.
16.
And how long were these days?
The days were a minimum of 15 hours.
And was any of that time spent in schooling?
Well, 5 hours we were studying L. Ron Hubbard's books, his courses, his SEAL courses. And we had half an hour for dinner and half an hour for lunch.
Because why would they need any type of schooling? Why would they need to learn about science, art, music, English, literature, biology, genetics, whatever it is. No, let's indoctrinate stupid Elcon Hubbard, who was a convicted felon and told everyone that pressing your lips, speaking of a grown-ass man, pressing his lips against a 7-year-old girl, and if the 7-year-old girl flinches or fights back, doesn't want to be kissed by a grown man, that something's wrong with her, that she's out 2D.
And if we ever wanted to go to the toilet, then we had to go with our buddy, and we had to double time too. It's a mixture between a walk and running.
My suspicion is going with a buddy was because so many of these young girls were getting RAPED.
We were not allowed to go anywhere alone. You had to always go with your buddy. And you were not allowed even 5 minutes break in between. And there was no difference between men or women. So I remember the one time I was supposed to carry one of these cement sacks, and one of the people who was in my group, one of the young men said, no, he will take that. And then the in charge came over to us and said, no, she will take it. Because there's absolutely no difference between if you're a child or a grown-up or a man or a woman.
I'm not saying every single Scientologist is a narcissist. I wouldn't say that. And a lot of people have talked about how with all the policies and the sect checking and the e-meter and all these things, it drills out your compassion and empathy. But I also think that this whole so-called organization, so-called church, fake church, that it's drawing in these types of people, like the more narcissistic, more psychopathic, cruel, no compassion, no empathy. So a young man, a young boy, I should say, he's probably maybe a teenager. He knows he's physically stronger because that's really how it is, folks. People need to, get in the real world. He's being a gentleman. He says, I will lift that heavy, whatever it was. And some probably narcissistic type B came in and made sure, no, you will do that. There's no such thing as a child or man or woman, whatever. Sound familiar? But what the F do I know, right?
Did they explain why that was?
Yes, because what really counts is your faith and your spirit, not your body. Your body it's basically just in the way.
So you may be 16 or you could be 10. Your Thetan is millions of years old.
But it doesn't even matter how old you are. The only thing that matters is that you can do anything, no matter how old you are or what sex you are.
Did you find that you could do anything?
No.
That is great mind control if you want to have people working their asses off for 18 hours with hardly any breaks and eating that crappy food. I guess some places they get decent food, but a lot of them they just eat the most abhorrent, nasty food. All those billions of dollars, and they can't fix the buildings or feed their people decent. Okay, let's go.
I hurt myself so often on the EPF that I was always in ethics and always having accidents.
I'm sorry I'm interrupting so many times. Maybe I'll try to chill on that. But it's just that every time I hear the things she says, I want to explain a little bit. And I'm not an ex-Scientologist. I'm a never in. Proud, never in. I suppose I might be an SP2. I'm not sure. But hear this. I think when she went in, she was 15, maybe. Because there's another part that I'll talk about here. But anyhow, she gets hurt, right? Which is going to happen because you have children doing manual labor. And instead of getting care and love and compassion to help them, like what should be done, she's pulled into what they call ethics, which is kind of like they're getting grilled why they pulled this in and that. it's just so awful. I mean, I have compassion on some of these people, for some of them, but some of them I don't have compassion for. And I would have to just, each on an individual basis, just like anywhere else, right? Because I've heard some interesting stories. But anyways, let's continue and see what else she has to say. Just gets me irritated.
Bitten by a spider, my whole arm swelled up, and I wasn't allowed to go to a doctor, and just stuff like that. We were working with acids without any gloves or protection, and it went, it got onto your skin, and your skin was eaten away, and it started getting infected.
Now, the EPF is different from the RPF.
Essentially, she could have died from an allergic reaction right there. I personally wonder, and I've been wondering this for a while, and Poe on the Go has covered some of this. I really wonder how many deaths have been covered up. We know there have been. And I'm more specifically interested in the children. Not that I don't have compassion for some of the adults. Some of the adults I don't have compassion for. But she could have died of an allergic reaction right there. Okay.
And now the RPF is punishment, right? So you have to make amends by being on the RPF. The EPF was just... Why were you on the EPF?
The EPF is there to prepare you for the Sea Org. It's there to make sure that you are even qualified to be in such a tough group.
Mind control. That sounds exactly like the Army. And I'm a U.S. Army veteran. No shade, I'm glad I was in, but it's exactly what they do.
Sea Org.
So you have to go through the EPF.
All the weak ones get filtered out in the EPF.
How many people didn't make it to the Sea Org?
Most of them did. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 out of one group of 10 people, if that. Most of them, because the Sea Org needs people desperately, so they usually all make it, but some of them take longer. Like I took 3.
One thing that we know that they don't weed out are rapists. They seem to be really good at keeping rapists in their ranks.
3 months to do the EPF, where you're supposed to do it in 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. And I was on it for 3 months because I was always having accidents.
What is the criteria for graduating from the EPF?
You have to have done all 5 courses, and you have to be able to confront MEST, which is matter, energy, space, and time, which basically is physical work, anything from, crawling around in sewage pipes to...
Apparently, ugly teeth, no brusher, fake Ron Hubbard didn't master that. With his smoking 15 packs of cigarettes a day, taking antipsychotic medications, and his big belly that he couldn't get his belt around, and his long hair and long nails. Apparently, he did not master MEST. He didn't get, even though he was allegedly a physicist, which is complete lies, he didn't seem to master that. Ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Building saunas, digging trenches, sitting in dirt with like hundreds of spiders crawling all over, and I hate spiders. That's what you have to do. And I mean, the most important thing of all is that the EPF in charge has to say you've passed.
Yeah. Well, do you remember the courses for the EPF?
Well, there was Scientology Introduction to Ethics. There was the personal grooming course, which taught you how to clean your shoes, how to look after your Sea Org hat, your cap, keeping personal hygiene, nails, brushing your teeth, men keeping their hair short, not on the collar. I don't remember what all of them were called, but in the one course you also learned, maybe that was also personal grooming, about how to clean windows with newspaper, how to dust, not in circles, you have to take it from the wall.
My suspicion is, and I don't want to keep on and on about the Army, but it really is true, and I actually think there's some really good things to be learned about cleaning well and doing a good job, paying attention to detail. I really think it's good to learn not just discipline, but what's the word I'm looking for? I guess maybe a work ethic. Not just work. Anyways, I just think that's not always so bad, but also it is a way to make people submissive. And there's actually nothing wrong with being very clean, and, you know, I take it to the extreme. But the fact that fake Ron Hubbard, who didn't even, from what I'm understanding, he was in the Navy under 90 days. I don't know how it happened, but I can't find his discharge papers. But he was an officer, allegedly, and nobody really could stand him. I understand, too, that a lot of authors could not stand him. But he's the moron that came up with the white finger, like the, what do you call it, the white glove test. You know, something they do in the military. And, you know, I got mixed feelings on it. But to make all these young kids that should be, and they didn't get any playtime. You know, no playtime whatsoever. No time to socialize and to have fun and develop their minds. And all that auditing and stuff that was changing their neural pathways. She's a little older, so she had a little freedom before, which is good. And apparently her mother passed away at some point. So then swoops in the vipers.
One end to the other and then fold the cloth, stuff like that. So there's a rule for everything in the Sea Org.
Did you find any of this practical or more useful than any of the other cleaning methods you ever used?
Okay, this is getting a little dry, for me anyways. I'm going to fast forward it and see what else. I should have been more disciplined and written down timestamps, but I just, nah, not today. I'm not doing that. It just stopped. Okay, it just stopped, so I'm going to stop here. There's something else I want to cover in this video, and I'll leave it be a surprise, but it's straight up hardcore evidence as to very young children.
And what was that like?
Well, at first I was very, very happy because being on the EPF was...
Okay, as to young children being made managers, which they always claim it's not a workplace, but everybody's a manager, everybody's a director, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, that'll be the next one.